Hey you guys, this is Tom, your neighborhood butcher, and today we're going to go over the tri-tip roast. I want to show you how to identify graining on the tri-tip roast, how to cut against the grain, how to take those untrimmed tri-tip roasts that you buy from a lot of these different companies and trim them down and get them ready for the grill and the smoker. I want to go over a few different things with you today when it comes to cutting the tri-tip roast into steaks and making those beautiful roasts that your family's gonna love. Let's get at it, guys. I'm ready. Let's do it. Me and you. Let's try to pick out the perfect tri-tip roast and steak. All right? All right. Here we are. These are whole tri-tips in the bag. You know, they're untrimmed. You see all the fat and all the nastiness around them. This is the graining. See how that grain goes up and down that piece of meat? We're going to want to cut against that grain. So see, that's a good cut. Now we're going to take just a little facing off the front of this tri-tip just to get the nastiness off, and then cut against the grain to make beautiful steaks. You see how that graining is standing up? Whenever you can cut against the grain, you're going to make that steak a much better eating experience. And then now we're just going to nip a little fat off these steaks. You know, you can cut these to cut the fat off or not. It's up to you. But I'm making these for my wife and my family, and they don't like as much fat as, say, I do in my meat. So I'm going to cut these in that sense. These are beautiful steaks. Look at these little things. And those are going to be more off the end, and then these of course are going to be off the front and more of a center cut or larger style steak from the tri-tip. See the graining there? See how that graining is angled? We're going to want to cut against that graining, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to perfectly cut against the grain, but you definitely want to get that graining standing up and down. That is what makes for a good eating experience. There you go. See how good that meat looks when the grain is standing in the right direction? If you were to cut it the wrong way, you would see this elongated grain going across the piece of meat, and it would not look near as appealing as it does in this instance where we've cut the grain the correct way. And you can instantly identify, to me anyway, tri-tip steaks that have been cut against the grain, because a lot of butchers make these mistakes. You know, they're cutting really fast. They're trying to get this stuff done as quickly as possible to appease their customers. Now here we're going to take basically this roast, and this is an untrimmed roast, and we're going to trim it up and get it ready for the grill. You know, removing most of this cap, this fat cap, so that this thing will be ready for the grill. I like to take a lot of the fat off the top of this piece of meat. Remember, when you're dealing with tri-tip, tri-tip has a good amount of fat that runs through the grain, and it also has a pretty large cap of fat on the bottom of this piece of meat. And that in itself, in my opinion, will flavor that tri-tip. Now here's another one. We're going to prepare this one for the smoker. You know, just trying to take all the fat off of it and get it ready to go. Now you can, of course, as you're smoking this piece of meat, just leave the fat on it. Cook it all down and then cut the fat off afterwards. You know, let as much of the fat render into the meat as you possibly can. As that fat heats up, it's going to melt and it'll help flavor the meat as well. But in this situation, I like to pull this at least top part of the fat off of this tri-tip and some of this silver side and get it ready for the smoker. These are wonderful pieces of meat, and I'm excited that I've been able to help you pick out these gorgeous pieces of meats. These are your steaks, roasts, and these are some beautiful pieces of tri-tip. This is what you want to look for when you're picking them out at the grocery store. Enjoy! Hey, and thank you for spending some time with me today. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you would, we're really trying to reach 1,000 subscribers on this channel and would love your support. Please like and subscribe. That's what makes it all go around. And hit that like button to tell the algorithm that I'm doing a good job for you. Thank you very much for supporting me and watching